Hey there. This is Oshma gosh. You know, going to sleep is almost as important as when you're pouring a smoothie out of your blender and have to angle your cup because the smoothie's coming out just a little bit too wide for the rim, so that none of it ends up on the counter. Oh, thank God. You know, during certain days, you might look up into the clouds. Sometimes I can start to imagine how people of ancient times believed in gods in the sky. Some clouds look more like islands with kingdoms within them. They're just merely passing by to observe our little piece of the earth. But they've seen it all by now. It's too big for just pools in a lake house. Some body of land that has wild horses they've trained to converse the small nimbus soot stacks that connect these worlds on some gloomy weekday as they fly over your head. You can imagine some planes pass by, pass through, and it's just a matter of time until the cloud forms back into what it looked like before the plane passed. And you see them grasses and horses running through without any lack of concern. Sometimes taking weeks for forecasts to allow them back in the alto stratus fixtures they came from, suspended like the gaseous current we call the sky. On land, sometimes it's night and the snow is heating up from an odd burst of heat, and the streets get fogged. Foggy like, in Scooby-Doo, when the fog's so thick, they can cut it with a knife and eat it like a piece of cotton candy. I imagine every street light for that fog is almost like all the particles have school in session, and each street bulb is a class, with the lecture being the center of that bulb. There's a gradient of thickness in the fog, and I get it. It's the lights reflecting off of the water and the sky and the air, but to me, I like to think it's like classroom chairs or church cues. And it's a lot of tardy particles. Tardy particles. That'd be a pretty cool punk rock band name. But imagine all the missing seats, all the empty queues. It's checkered out, and it creates this gradient. I like to think that the particles that aren't showing up further behind, still living in their home, their gas particle home out there in the bush, watching cartoons because it's 9:30 and they already are awake and they can't go back to sleep. It's hard to believe that as we walk this earth, the sun moves faster than we're walking, yet time lapses in the same amount, where we grow old and the sun never gets slower. But does it? Does the sun get tired? Sometimes it's fun to think that even though they say light moves really fast, that inside of that bright light, there might be things we might never know that's particular to the way it is. I like to imagine these little jumping bugs leaving trails of light, and maybe they're just as slow as it seems to those sun flares that happen through these telescopes. What are we to do when we get locked out of our house when we come home from school? I have memories. Listen to Akon on the steps. There's got to be productive, alternative motives. Let's lift up the tiles on the back porch. Maybe we can find some roly-polies. Maybe there's an ant colony that we'll be able to see for a quick glimpse until they find a snack on my shoelaces and socks. But it's alright. They're just doing what they want. Just why I decided to lift up the rock. 'Cause here, it's hard to envision us as little ants from a distance. Sorry. Have you ever heard of Horton Hears a Who? It's a little world, and only an elephant could hear because his ears are so damn big. Talking about big ears. Y'all seen the movie Shrek? Never mind. I know you have. Some nights I lay awake in a dream thinking about what is Michael Myers doing right now. I get that Love Guru wasn't received that well, but we can't continue making Shreks forever. But would I love to hear the chance to hear Eddie Murphy talk as a donkey one more time. And that's what those water molecules are thinking, sitting in their leaf home in that bush at 9:30 in the morning as class goes on at the streetlight. Now we should get it straight. Wow. Let's just take a second and slow down for a bit. want you to take a big deep breath. And on the exhale, I know you already did it, but we're going to do it again. I want you to take a big inhale. And this time, I want you to follow directions. On the exhale, imagine that there's an energy just pent up, built up in your head that you're pushing away out through the center of your forehead. I like to think that when your eyes are closed and you can't fall asleep, it's because you're thinking about other things. Imagine when you close your eyes, there's another level of closing your eyes where things become more dark than the average eye close. The run-of-the-mill, you might ask. And in the right moment, when you find yourself exhausted after a yawn, I want you to look into that darkness and create a scene out of whatever starts to show shapes. Sometimes, for me, it turns into seagulls in the sky, but I get stuck thinking, now how am I going to make a plot out of this? But the key is to not try to control it, and just to let it bring you to a new place. Look, there's a person, that person, well, they're not your mom, but they seem like your mom. She said that she's calling you to come in for dinner, but it's gone cold. But not to worry, because they got pie. Well, it's alright. I mean, you like the pie better than there. It wasn't even a good dinner night tonight. They said it was just leftovers. Sometimes you don't know what you need until you don't have it. I don't have a microwave right now, but hey, sometimes I'll just put Tupperware on top of a pan on the stove and put a little bit of water in it, and it heats it up, maybe a little bit slighter and better than the microwave ever could. On the bright side, even if you have a microwave, you could always try out that way as well, man. It's no biggie. You got options. It looks like your neighbor, his kid, what's his name? Is it Christopher? I don't know if he likes going by Chris. You know, I don't talk to them that much. But their mom calls him Christopher. He's trying to learn how to scooter, but his helmet's way too big for him. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's not me. If anything, it's more endearing. He doesn't recognize the goofiness of his appliances. Christopher, you do realize you gotta push a little bit harder to go faster, right? you could push many times faster than the average person. But if you're not pushing hard, you might stay the same. You could say it might even throw off your balance. I found that sometimes I'm in the grocery store looking for something for way too long. And even the people I ask don't know where it is. Though there's some things in the store that are a little bit more simple to find, so you feel like you probably shouldn't ask because you'll find it sooner or later. For me, I very rarely like oyster crackers, but I never know where to find the oyster crackers. Let me go to the oyster crackers section. Aisle 1, aisle 2, aisle 3, aisle 4, aisle 5, aisle 6. Hold on, there's a lady in the way. Aisle 7, aisle 8. Now I see we're too far now. We're by the detergent. But there's a cracker section. And the oyster crackers are never in the cracker section. Even if I get someone in the store and try to explain to them where I am, they're trying to find me. Like, I mean, you can find me. It's not that big of a store. You can't find me. I can't complain. I don't even know where the oyster crackers are. They're a specialty ass cracker. Look at me. I'm a specialty ass cracker. They'll put them over by the croutons. Where are the croutons? I mean, we could just make our own croutons and just buy some bread and let it sit for a bit in the fridge. But you know, I don't want it to, if it gets moldy, I don't know how I feel about that. Give me a break, man. And how come you can't just buy a single piece, a couple strands of parsley? I don't think anyone could use that much parsley. That's way too much goddamn parsley for anyone to be able to use. You know, it's almost terrifying. How can I get rid of this excess parsley before it goes bad? It just gets limp. Maybe we'll make a pesto. Here, write that down. As I pull out my iPhone with the cracked screen protector, I go into my notes and write down something about parsley or pesto, or isn't it made with basil? But yeah, it's made with walnuts as well. Am I gonna have to buy walnuts? Walk over to the walnut section, and it turns out you can't just buy a couple walnuts. You gotta buy a whole bag of walnuts, and it only calls for half the bag of walnuts. So I used the rest of the parsley to make the pesto, half the walnuts, and then now I got another half bag of walnuts that I have to deal with. How am I gonna have to make more pesto? that's two bags of parsley, and then I have 2 batches of pesto, and I use pesto more sparingly than parsley. And like, does the pesto go bad? Does my blender chop it up enough? Am I gonna need a food processor? Then I gotta buy a food processor. And here I am in Walmart thinking, which aisle is the food processor in? Walmart has everything. And I'm back to square one, and I still haven't found the oyster crackers. And I think to myself, how bad does this soup I'm making need oyster crackers? Sure, they taste great as a snack, but you eat a package of oyster crackers. It's a box with a bunch of plastic in it with a bunch of crackers. Why don't they just make one box full of oyster crackers it pours out? You'd fit a lot more oyster crackers in the box. They'd probably just go stale quicker. But the thing is, honestly, there's never enough salt in those things anyways. They got well done Cheez-Its, light salt wheat thins, herb and garlic, but oyster crackers, it's universal, the same thing. And here I am, debating in Target if I should even look for this food processor. And I'm really thinking about how good are those goddamn oyster crackers worth for me to indulge in 2 servings of parsley, 2 containers of pesto, and if this chowder will even make those oyster crackers taste better than they barely do already. And I ask you, how far do I have to walk in this Walmart to find it? Is it against the rules to use one of the mobility scooters? What if I brought a skateboard and just hitched onto the back of one, and maybe just so happens that person went by the oyster cracker section without them realizing I was in the back? And if we were to move on a bit, what type of people have rat tail haircuts? And we're not talking about mullets, we're talking about rat tails. Is it gypsies? Insane clown posse juggalos? Aliens? Is it like a tail? Is there like a physical, is there an appendage underneath it? Does it have nerves? Can I cut it off without them noticing? Is it against their religion? Is that something? Let me go back to the birds. What's really important is that this dream is just something that a gas particle living in a house, on a leaf, on the bush, by the corner of your street in that side street is doing while their class is in session. And what are they learning about? I don't know, man. I guess we'll never know. But sometimes I bet when they try to get away, they like thinking about those clouds with those fun horses made out of fog in the clouds. And imagine there's times when you explore the other clouds, and it's hard for you to get back to them because they're moving interchangeably. And your cloud family set you off on an adventure with a cloud knapsack full of parsley and oyster crackers, and soup that doesn't need crackers in it, and it might be years before they see you again. You might make it to the big city in the sky where Zeus throws lightning bolts at his cronies and the horses roam free. And they snack on those little dinky fucking packages of oyster crackers. I want you to stretch your legs out. Let your shoulders drop. Take another deep breath. I want you to ball your feet like a fist and flex them and just let go. I want you to move your pillow to the other perfect position you were scared of doing because you'd move your head. And just sink deep into your comforter. And imagine you're not too cold, not too hot, but you're just soaking in that moonlight as those cloud horses look down at you. And think, hey, I wonder how long until we see that one again.